The latest from Hunter Biden's laptop, President Biden reportedly sharing a critical article about then presidential candidate Hillary Clinton in 2016. Biden writing, quote, interesting. Of course, he probably doesn't speak that way, in the subject line of an email shared with his inner circle, with a link to this Real Clear Politics article. Hillary's victories mean painful legal choices for the DOJ and White House. Joining me now is North Carolina Congressman Ted Budd. He's a member of the House Financial Services Committee and candidate for U.S. Senate. Congressman Budd, so maybe he doesn't like her, but beyond that, how do you read into this?
About the Hunter Biden laptop, look, this is about when we take over Congress, take back the House, take back the Senate. We need to bring accountability to the Biden administration because this is absolutely tragic. We've seen mainstream media malpractice now going on 2 years that we've known about this. And so people are crying out for justice. We need to know what's on it, what the DOJ, what the FBI is looking into, because people need their justice.
But do you run the risk, this is, looking ahead past the election, but would you potentially run the risk of stomping on the grand jury that's been impaneled in Delaware and what's going on in terms of that tax evasion case? Which it could be more. But again, like, even if you have a parallel investigation or parallel hearings, do you run the risk of bigfooting the prosecutor in Delaware?
I don't think so. I think they need to brief Congress. We need to know what they're doing. I mean, if there's anything that would overlap with the grand jury, of course, they need to let us know if there needs to be a firewall. But of course, they need to expose the fact that they are investigating because they've been foot dragging for quite a while. And we've known there's corruption. We've known that Hunter Biden is compromised. And we need to look into the link between Hunter Biden and his father, Joe Biden, to see if there and we think there are major compromises that perhaps could weaken the U.S.
Business dealings in China, for example, and money that was sent from those business dealings directed to Hunter and his uncle, his father, his father's brother. That being said, I'll note, because we were talking about the article that was shared by Joe Biden talking about Hillary Clinton, and I said last week there is animosity potentially there between President Obama and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. I just remember vividly when Hillary Clinton, when she was asked why she had not yet dropped out of the nomination process going back to 2008, her response was, and I'm paraphrasing, well, Bobby Kennedy was shot in June in California, which is just an appalling response to that. Before we move on, final word on this.
Look, I mean, the people are waiting. We've been waiting for, we see compromises. We see connections between Joe Biden. What this really plays into is American weakness on the international stage. We would never have these series of problems that we're having if we were under President Donald J. Trump. We see Russia being emboldened. We see North Korea being emboldened, China, Iran. All of these challenges right now are really a result of American weaknesses because of the compromises and the condition of Joe Biden. So this is something that's internationally concerning, and it's concerning to us here domestically.
Congressman, last week you were sanctioned by Russia. Tell me more about that.
They sanctioned several of us in Congress because we have been supportive of the sanctions against them, particularly the financial things that are crippling to their economy. Look, we have to be strong as we can as the United States so that we can support our ally, the Ukraine. We have to go after the ruble. We have to go after the financial pipelines. We have to go after the SWIFT, everything that Russia uses to move money and enhance their ability to project power. We want to cripple it so that we can support our ally in this. Putin is evil. He's an international thug. This is an unjust war against the Ukraine. And I've been a strong proponent of everything that we can do as the U.S. to stop their incursion into Ukraine. And that is why they sanctioned me, and I consider it a badge of honor.
But, Congressman, there is so much more that needs to be done that is out of the U.S.'s control unless we can use verbally our leverage over Europe, because money has continued to flow into Russia as Europe is utterly reliant on oil and natural gas. They have been trying to go to other nations to find additional supplies or alternative supplies. But again, if you've been watching the ruble, more money for the duration of this war on Ukraine, more money has been flowing into Russia than coming out of Russia because of that European reliance. What more can you, as a congressman, do to try and wean Europe off of those Russian energy supplies?
The number one thing we can do here in the U.S. is our domestic energy production policy. We have to, everything that Joe Biden has done has been radical environmentalism and against energy production. So when folks come to me and say it's a lot easier to carry $100 worth of groceries, you can chuckle a little bit at that, but this runaway inflation is no laughing matter. This is hurting our average, everyday, hardworking consumer here. It's costing them $5,200 for the average working family here in the United States. That policy that Joe Biden is doing domestically is hurting us internationally, because we can be a net exporter if we have pro-energy, all of the above strategies here in the U.S., and that can help wean Europe off of Russian energy.
And I will note that over the weekend, the Biden Interior Department did restart oil and gas leasing on federal lands, but it was only to comply with a court order to allow those lease sales. And it does paltry little. A friend of mine who works in oil lease and in the energy business, she said less land and higher royalties. How can he raise royalties without legislation? So again, they're doing, the Biden administration, the bare minimum in terms of trying, when they could do everything in their power to restore our energy dominance and help Europe and other nations get off of Russian energy supplies. Congressman Ted Budd, thank you so much. Great to see you this morning.
Thank you, Dagan.